when you see this abomination of desolation standing in the holy place where it ought not. Now, this abomination of desolation will be a form of an idol, much like you hear about in Revelation when it talks of the image of the beast. So a lot of Christians conclude that this abomination of desolation will indeed be the image of the beast, and this image of the beast will have a false prophet attached to this, and an antichrist figure whom we are to worship. In worshipping this image of the beast, will indeed be worshipping the antichrist. So this image of the beast is an idol that's placed in the holy place in the last days, where it ought not. It's supposed to be a place where, of course, people worship God. So placing an idol in the holy place would indeed be an abomination to God, and so it stands where it ought not. When we see this idol, this last day idol, which would be some kind of technocratic, scientific, built with man's hands, computerized idol, which in the book of Revelation is referred to as being the image of the beast. As this is the abomination of desolation. When we see this, when the world sees this, then shall be great tribulation, Jesus goes on to say. For then, when we see this abomination of desolation, shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days be shortened, in other words, stopped, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, for those Christians who choose to believe in Jesus, those days shall be shortened, in other words, stopped. So a time period of great trouble, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And if man is left to his own devices, it would indeed be the end of the world and the end of all flesh. Hence, what shall be the signs of thy coming of the end of the world? Well, it would have been the end of the world if Jesus didn't intervene. So those days are cut short when Jesus intervenes, except those days should be shortened. In other words, by the second coming of Jesus Christ, the time period of great trouble when we see this abomination of desolation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. If that isn't stopped, then it would be the end of all flesh and the end of the world. So Jesus intervening just before the time period of the end of the world, hence the disciples are saying, what should be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? So Jesus saying that he's going to intervene, it's going to be cut short. So Jesus there points into the reality that he's going to cut these days short, which points to Jesus coming back after the tribulation of those days straight away in this chapter. Then, now during this time period of great trouble, then you're now focused on being here in the time period of great tribulation, this time period of great trouble, such as was not since the beginning of the world. Jesus is saying, yes, Christians are going to be here. He goes on to give Christians, whether they're Jew or Gentile, a warning. Then, if any man shall say unto you, don't forget this is largely pointing to the time period of great trouble, which is going to be 3.5 years. You find this out in the prophecies of Daniel. Then, now during this time period of great trouble, if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. So he's not coming back before the end of the great tribulation. He's coming back immediately. So when those days are cut short, when man is about to commit suicide on a worldwide scale, and that there'd be no flesh left if Jesus didn't intervene, then that's when Jesus comes back immediately. When Jesus, let's say he's in the heavens now, he sees man's about to wipe himself out. It's suddenly cut short immediately, just before man's about to commit suicide. Immediately, Jesus comes back.